Hello everyone, I am Rithvika here to teach you Senior Inter English classes. So today, let's start with the prose in Module 1, Dancing in the Rain. This lesson is written by Azim Hashim Premji. He is the chairman of Wipro Limited and he is an Indian business tycoon and a philanthropist. A philanthropist is a person who loves mankind. He's so generous and he likes to help people. He devotes a lot of time and resources to improve the education system in India, and his university, Azim Premji University and Azim Premji Foundation works towards that goal, and his articles and speeches on education and motivation are inspirational. The title, Dancing in the Rain, means enjoying immense freedom without any restrictions. This lesson deals with the plight of the present day children. It explains how the present day children are being suffered, how they are being burdened, and how they are deprived of their childhood. So as we move into the lesson, one often hears the high prevalence of child labor in our country. Of the many reports I have heard, perhaps the most disturbing was a report on the condition of children employed by zari factories in Delhi, Mumbai and other parts of India. It grieves me to imagine children exposed to such inhumanity. So the lesson starts with the report on child labor. So this report highlights the condition of children employed by zari factories in different parts of India. So the children are exposed to inhumanity and they are deprived of their childhood. They are being burdened. Robbing children of their childhood is a criminal act, and our society must weed this malice out from the root. But where does the root lie? Childhood is the best part of our life, and once it goes, we cannot get it back. So one should enjoy their childhood without any restrictions. A child must have the freedom to enjoy their childhood. But nowadays, it is being restricted by many of the reasons, and this must be eliminated. Before you attempt an answer, let me give you an anecdote from the other end of the social spectrum. When we see from one end, we find children working as laborers in factories. But now let's see from the other end. A colleague in Wipro has a child studying in Standard 9 of a reputed school in Bangalore. This child wakes up at 5 a.m. and studies for an hour before going to school. She returns from school at 4 p.m. and rushes for her IIT entrance exam coaching class. At 6 p.m. she has tuitions for 2 hours. Post dinner, she spends an hour or more on homework. I asked her when she gets time to play. She replied that she does not play. She gets half hour of free time each day, which she spends watching her favorite serial on television. She also added that board exams and entrance exams are very important and that you only get one chance. So now Premji tells his own experience about his colleague's daughter. So when he went to their home and he asked his daughter that what does she do all day. So she replies that she goes on studying. She's completely focused on studies, but she have no time to play. She doesn't even play. When she wakes up at 5 a.m. she reads for an hour again, then she goes to school and comes home at 4 p.m. and again she goes to IIT coaching classes for 2 hours, and after returning home she has tuition classes for more 2 hours. Then after her dinner, then she completes her homework, but she have no time to play. She has only a half an hour of free time which she utilizes to watch her favorite serial on television. So she also says that entrance exams and board exams are also important because we only get one chance to write them. So she only concentrates on studies instead of wasting her time by playing or doing something else. Is the condition of this child different from the child in the zari factory? So yes, they both are almost similar. One is suffered by working in factories and the other is suffered at educational institutions. When I look at children, I wonder whether they have time to play with friends, to meet interesting people, to explore the world and to follow their curiosity. So nowadays children are as there is much emphasis on study, no child have time to play. They are completely concentrated on studies. They have no time to play. They have no time to meet friends and make friends, and they have no time to explore the world. They are completely concentrated on studies. When the first monsoon showers begin, I would think that the streets would be full of children rushing headlong into the rain, dancing and playing. However, I think today the rain falls on empty streets. So in olden days, whenever it rains, all the children in the street come into the street and they play, they dance, they enjoy in the rain. But nowadays, no one is found in the rain. No one is found in the streets when it rains. This, my friends, is the new Indian reality in our villages, in our slums, and in our metropolitan high-rises. Whatever the reasons, poverty, societal aspiration, apathetic individuals and organizations, or just the burden of circumstances, the reality is that our children are straitjacketed. So nowadays, no matter where the child is, he may be living in a village or in a slum area or in a metropolitan city, he is being burdened, he is being deprived of their childhood in one or the other way. Any reason, it may be any reason, but he is being burdened, he is being stressed, he is being deprived of his childhood. The final indicator of a country's independence is the way its children live. Are children free from malaise of poverty and hunger? Are they free from the burden of parental aspiration? Are they free from norms of social conditioning? Are we ensuring the curiosity of our children continues to burn and is not stamped out? Are they free to explore the world, to realize their unique potential and thereby help discover the true potential of the society itself? So here the writer is saying that the final indicator of a country's independence, if a country has independence, it also, and the final indicator is depends upon how the children are living, how they live, how much freedom do they have to live their happy childhood. Gandhiji said that greatest lessons in our life are learned from children, not from learned men. A child will fearlessly try before giving up. As adults, fearing failure, we even give up even before we try. A child is inherently curious about the world, about relationships, about wanting to understand how things work. As adults, our blinkered and conditioned self prevents us from truly exploring without prejudice. For a child, what she does is meaningful in its own right. As an adult, we usually link every action to an external reward of money or recognition. So here the writer also points out about the words said by Gandhiji that the greatest lessons of life are learned from children but not from learned men. This is because a child is very curious about everything and he always tries as many times as possible before he gives up, and he always wanted to know how things work. He's very curious about everything. Whereas learned men, as adults, we fear of failure. With the fear of failure, we give up before we try, and we also link everything to an external reward or recognition. So we may not do anything as children does. Thus, the greatest lessons of life are learned from children, not from learned men. I did not learn how to be a father from manuals. Whatever little I learned about being a parent, I learned by observing my children and letting them teach me. Similarly, I think our teachers could grow enormously by learning from their students. So here the writer also says that he didn't learn how to be a father from some manuals or by any other sources. He just learned by observing his children and letting them teach him. He also wanted the teachers to learn from their students. We will then refrain from pushing our knowledge down their young minds and begin the democratic process of being joint learners as we discover and understand our world. I believe a powerful force for empowerment is to have motivated teachers who are learners first, teachers second. Only then we will stop trying to mold children into our adult likeness. Only then we will let them blossom. So the writer here says that he needs every teacher to learn from their children and everyone to learn from the children, and he also wanted motivated teachers who are the learners first, then teachers second, and then he also advises the parents and teachers to realize the power and the interest of their children and students, and he also wants to support them and encourage them to discover their curiosity and interests. If India has to develop economically, socially, intellectually, and culturally, we must empower those most vulnerable to social diktat, our children. Let us resolve to give our children the freedom of childhood. Let us change our schools from being textbook prisons to laboratories of exploration. Let us change homes from being tuition centers to playgrounds of art and sport. India will be radiant when our children are free to dance in the rain. So when a country must develop in all different aspects, a child must have freedom to do whatever he wants. In this lesson, the writer wants children to have unlimited freedom and enjoy their childhood in the way they want. And he also wanted to change the schools from textbook prisons to laboratories of exploration. He wants the children to explore and learn themselves. And he also wants homes to be as a playgrounds so that the children can learn in school and come home and play and get relaxed. So in this way, when children have unlimited freedom, they blossom happily and they grow in a healthy manner. Thus, the India will be a radiant country. This is the summary of the lesson Dancing in the Rain. I hope you understood this lesson. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Stay home, stay safe.